Hey everybody, Justine here, the Twilight Stamper, and today I am bringing you a card for the March release of So Suzy Stamps. Here's the card we're creating today, and if you want to check out her release on stamps, I have a direct link below in the description. To start off, I'm going to be taking just a scrap piece of watercolor paper, and I'm going to be taking this Dragonfly stamp and attaching it to my stamp press. I am going to ink it up using Archival Black ink from Ranger, because Archival is made with an oil-based sort of ink. It doesn't react with water, so it's good for watercoloring, I find. I'm going to stamp this onto the watercolor paper and get a nice even impression. The next thing I did was take some distress inks, some bundled sage ink, as well as peacock feathers. And I used my mini mister to spray those down, and I'm going to be watercoloring those right now. I'm taking my water brush, and I'm not squeezing it, so I'm not really using any of the water in the water brush itself. I'm just using it to paint. So I'm just coloring in the dragonfly. It doesn't matter, you don't have to stay in the lines at all for this because we're going to be cutting out the dragonfly anyway, so anything you do outside the lines is not a big deal. I decided to flick the bundled sage out into the wings and color the body using the peacock feathers. I used peacock feathers to finish off the wings here, and I decided that it needed another color. So I added some squeezed lemonade to my mat and cleaned off my brush and then used the yellow to kind of lighten up the dragonfly. I went back in with a couple of the other colors there to make it a little darker. I cut out the dragonfly using a piece of microtip scissors. You might want to let this dry first because I found while cutting it didn't cut the best because the paper was wet, so it didn't get a very crisp cut the first time. Now you're going to want to take a piece of 4 by 5¼ inch, could be slightly smaller. I added a little bit to my palette here. I added some picked raspberry ink, so I have the peacock feathers, the bundled sage as before, and then I added some more of the squeezed lemon. And I'm going to go in and create a wash for my background. Now normally I saturate my background first, but for whatever reason I just made the ink really wet and decided to do the watercolor look this way. You can't really screw up too much with watercolors, you just have to kind of see if it looks good in the end. I find you never really know what it's going to look like. That's what I love about it. So I grabbed the yellow and squeezing my brush to add a little bit of water to it, I did a wash over the background. Okay, so I added the bundled sage in and I make sure I overlap my colors, and I use the picked raspberry and then the broken china. And you just want to make sure that you're making it all in the middle. And then in the end, I ended up cutting out the circle die. You actually don't want to do this, but I showed it because in the end you'd probably be confused. So I put this through my die. This is absolutely unnecessary, and I screwed up by doing that, but not a big deal. Okay, so I die cut that piece using the W+9 circle dies. Again, you don't need to do this because in the end I ended up cutting out this white panel and cutting out the circle background. So yeah, anyway, I cut that out of a piece of 4 by 5¼ Neenah white cardstock, and that's the 80-pound cardstock. So now I have my card base here that I wanted to put together, and this is the Island Blue cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. And this is going to be my actual card base. And then the idea was to put down the watercolor piece with the wash that you have. So again, you didn't die cut that if you're following what I'm doing here. And you just put that onto the card. So as you can see here, I put some 3D foam tape onto my card panel here, and I'm going to place this on my card. So if you were creating this yourself, you would put that watercolor layer down first with the wash background, then this. But because I had the circle, I had to kind of fit it into the card. So again, if you would have had that wash background, then it would have been a lot easier. So I just glued this circle piece down into the middle, and because the card panel is on 3D foam tape, it actually makes it look like this is kind of in the background. And so I really like that. I didn't put them diagonally or anything. I put them horizontally, the stripes of the watercolor, because I thought it looked a little bit better. And I attached the dragonfly using 3D foam tape as well. Using the Love stamp from Suzy Stamps, I am using my Distress markers in the same colors as I use the watercolor wash to stamp this sentiment. So all you have to do is color in here, and if you notice your marker is drying up, then all you have to do is kind of heavy breathe onto it and give kind of a huff sound, and it will re-moisten the stamp before you stamp it. So you're just going to press down like you normally would, and it's going to create sort of this watercolor look. And I really like the way that the sentiment turned out, and it matched out the wash background really perfectly. So that's the end of today's card. I hope you enjoyed. Here you're welcome to subscribe to my channel, and I have 2 other videos featuring Sew Suzy stamps. If you want to check out her March release, which is fabulous, just click on the link below in the description. And please play along with the March challenge. It's a watercolor challenge over on her blog, and you can have a chance to win a gift certificate to Sew Suzy stamps. And she has some really awesome stamps to look at. So I hope you go there and check it out. Bye!